Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of CEOpen. Today we are hosting Viktoria Soltesz, Businesswoman of the Year 2023, one of not many founders in the industry, a woman founder. I'm happy to have you. Hi.
Thank you so much, Bartek. Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
So you are in the payment business, so you are the person who really understands how the money flows and I suppose how to get rich. At least that's what would my mother understand from the name of your position.
That's wrong, actually, because everybody thinks about finance as something which makes money for you and investment, but it has nothing to do with investment. It's really the international money flows, how banks think, how you can send money to your friend abroad, why certain transactions go through, why certain just get flagged and accounts are frozen, so around that. So it is no, unfortunately I'm not gonna make you rich.
Yeah. I think that's pretty same thinking. Like my mother would think that if I'm in the iGaming business and I do the development, then it means that if I go to online casino, I have special codes to win and to get all the money, right?
Don't you?
No, unfortunately. Um,
Unfortunately.
but you do know quite a lot about finances. You even founded the institute where you educate people about it, right?
That's right. Actually, it goes back to a long time, 20 years ago. God, I'm thinking about it, and it's too long. I actually started as a tax accountant, a tax advisor, and back in the day, Cyprus just joined the EU, so a lot of companies looked abroad. Internet was booming. Every company went online. So everybody thought that if they incorporate a company in Cyprus and then move the funds, then whoop, tax starts disappearing. So obviously, it's not that easy. But the tax optimization was really big back in the day when I moved to Cyprus. And yeah, it was 20 years ago. No one asked you about anything about banks, or you just walked into a bank, opened an account, and put cash in it, or sent money left, right, and center. And after that, when compliance became a thing, that's when I get more and more questions from my clients that I did the accounting for, and I was an auditor as well. And they told me that, okay, I understand that taxation wise is one thing, but what are we going to do with the banks? How are we going to deal with the payment providers? We get
Mhm.
rejected. Bank is asking a lot of questions, what to do about it. So that was the background story of me shifting over to payments because I didn't even know what to say to them. So then I started to look for the answers. I was curious. Then I realized, so this is why. And then it was much easier to explain everything to the client. So that led me to do the consultancy and now the institute as well.
But was it related to iGaming from the day one, or did you slowly move into that sector?
It was a slow move because in Cyprus, there is no capital gains tax on dealing with securities. So there are a lot of investment companies, forex brokerages, hedge funds, and any other asset management companies, which is inherently belonging to the higher risk category from a banking perspective. And back in 2016-17 was the crazy Bitcoin and the crypto haze. So everybody wanted to open their own crypto exchange, which is high risk on its own, tokenizing everything. I don't know if you remember, everybody did the
Oh,
ICOs,
oh, I do,
initial
yeah.
coin offerings, and everybody got rich all of a sudden. So that's when these really complex cases ended up on my lap, and then it just led me to iGaming and gambling, which is again a high risk category on its own. But usually, from a banking perspective, if you deal with high risk, then you deal with everything which is high risk. So obviously now it's a bit more fine tuned, and there are payment service providers and banks specifically for our industry. But back at the day, it was high risk is the same. So they dealt with the crypto, with the gaming, gambling, with the betting industry, with the investments, with the CBDs back in the day. The cannabis oils and travel and education. So we were under the same umbrella as the high risk. So that's how I ended up also in the sector. And I lived in Malta as well. So obviously then you mingle with people from the industry. And then I really understood that, so this is how it works. This is how it looks like. And it was there was a lot of good realization at that time to realize that, so this is why the banks are rejecting you. This is the license. And it just
Mhm.
added to all the experience.
a side question. I cannot help but ask the question. You are originally from Hungary,
That's right.
from Budapest. You right now live in Cyprus, but you had your episode in Malta.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So you've been traveling quite a lot, right?
That's right. And I'm actually talking to you now from Barcelona because my husband my, my husband
Okay.
has a job here, a project. So yes, I travel a lot. But you know, in our industry and mainly for banking and payments, you have to be in it. So you have to talk to the clients, you have to see them face to face. So there's just one thing where I am when I'm working, let's say from home, when I'm actually running the operation. But when I see the clients, I'm always traveling. I'm in Dubai all the time. I'm going to London a lot. So yeah, all different conferences around the world. So yeah, I live on the airplane.
Apparently, but if you are in iGaming business, should you move to Malta or should you move to Cyprus, and would that really help you? And so from your perspective, the fact that you live in an airplane and you apparently you've been to every single city there is in the world. Is it just a matter of your preference that you prefer to talk face to face to people, or is it a matter of like being more efficient business wise?
Listen, I'm going where the client wants me to be, obviously, right? So, of course, we deal a lot with Maltese companies, so that's why I'm spending a lot of time in Malta as well. But yes, it's interesting to see that certain industries have their hubs, right? As I
Hmm.
said, for example, back in the day, forex investment companies were in Cyprus, Malta, and Gibraltar is really good for iGaming, gambling. Other, for example, Estonia was issuing crypto licenses 5 years ago. So whoever, if you wanted to talk to crypto wise, then you go to Estonia. Now you go to Dubai. So you see these trends, but I think we are very privileged and very blessed enough that we can actually afford to go and be at that place where the client wants us to be, and that's why I have the privilege to actually go wherever I'm needed to be. But this is not related to one place because payments and banking is global, and I'm sure that even for your company you have a local account, but maybe you have an account which is not in the country where the company
Yeah,
is registered, and that's
of course.
normal. So the money movements are completely international, so it's not really pinpointed to one specific area. And of course, if you go to Malta, you see all the talents and all the professionals, and then you have the startup meetings and the industry meetings. So it's good to be there. But yeah, we can be truly global nowadays. I mean, I'm talking to you over the internet now, and there are no physical limits.
True that. All right, let's get back to what you do, because the short description of your company, PSP Angels, right now,
That's right.
the short description is that this is an independent payment consulting firm. Let's try to explain from the perspective of wannabe casino operator. Let's say I want to set up new casino, let's say on Maltese license. First of all, why would I need your services? And second of all, what's the process like? What do you do, and how would that help me?
Right. We have a very unique approach because when I started this company, I was working, as many of us in this industry still working, on a referral commission basis. So that means that there is a company who is looking for a payment service providers. We are in the high risk, so there is always big demand for any kind of new financial product services. And then you have partnership with different banks, financial institutions, PSPs, payment service providers, and you do the match, and then you enjoy the commission at the middle. And when I started, God, it was a long time ago, like 7 years ago, it was easier because everybody knew everyone. It was not that much of a challenge. I mean, monies disappeared back at the day even then, but it was somehow a bit more safe space for payments processing because compliance was not really on your neck. It was, but not that much as today.
Mm,
Um, and then I realized that if you are working for commission, you are motivated to put the client to whoever pays you the most amount of commission.
yeah,
And this is not really ethical. So if a client is
no,
trusting you and thinking that you're going to give them a good advice, that you owe them to give them an independent, unbiased, and honest advice instead of being just a reseller who is a salesperson masking as a consultant. And that's the
mhm,
problem that I see today in the industry. So now we changed completely the approach, and now we are independent and unbiased because we feel that if the client needs that payment provider or this bank, but that bank or that payment provider doesn't give me a commission, I still can offer their services. I can still attract the client's attention that, listen, there is something like this on the market. I think it's going to benefit you without any hidden agenda. Now, the other things that we have noticed that payment and banking still, and it's not just only in this industry, but all over the world, it's still part of the finance function. There is a CFO or a financial controller who is responsible for the payment providers and banks. I think it's wrong. I am an accountant. We were never trained on chargeback, on SEPA, on SWIFT, on payment service providers, or technology, or integration, or data security, or compliance. So those people who are making currently decisions around payments and banking are simply just not qualified to do so. And they are making bad decisions. And management doesn't even know what is the risk that they are taking because what you don't know, you don't know. So this is what we are challenging, that payment and banking has to come out of the finance function, needs to be put in a holistic view as part of an overall strategy because it affects everything that you're dealing with. It affects your customer experience, what payment methods, what's the checkout experience, when the player is falling out, how the player is getting paid back immediately when they are winning, what is the wallet function that you have embedded in the platform, and that's just the customer experience. Also, of course, finance is involved because of the fees, but also compliance, also for marketing purpose, also for, as I said, data security, technology. I can find you the best payment service provider who is working on the best fees, solid, but they are settling you every 2 months. Would you take it? No. But who is making a decision of the timeline of the settlement, how the money is actually flowing through your company? What is the risk that it's posing you? So, for example, Bartek, I tell you, okay, I've got a really good bank, put 5 million there. What's your first question? Okay, where is the bank? Is it in a country I've never heard of? Or is it in Europe regulated under a banking license? Because the risk is different. And what I still see that since accountants and financial professionals are not trained on these aspects, they're making bad decisions, taking unnecessary risks, having a lot of cost which might not even be necessary to run the operation. And sometimes they don't even have a backup. They don't understand what is uptime. They don't understand how the CRM system is connected to the payment provider of the gateway. There are a lot of aspects of it. So this is, in a nutshell, basically, this is what we are helping our clients, that we shift out the payments and banking, which is very important, mainly when you're in a high risk, and put it at the forefront as the leading strategical decision basis other than a supporting finance function, because you have to look at this from this perspective, other than just, all right, my accountant is going to deal with that. They're just simply not trained. And that's why we have the institute training those accountants, training those finance professionals, or even startup founders who just don't know that there is life over Stripe, for example. But I think this industry is getting more and more attention because wherever you look, everybody has problems with payments and banking. So it's not just our industry. Even the supermarket downstairs had some kind of problems with payments. So time is going to come when business owners really need to understand that this is something that we need to talk about, and it's very expensive, and it could be very risky if we just don't.
Okay. The major part of what you just said is about education,
Yeah.
that people do understand or don't understand all the risks, all the nuances, and all those stuff. Is this why you founded the institute,
That's
to
right.
educate people?
Yeah,
All right.
exactly. So at the beginning, obviously, I was taking clients and I was living their problems. And you start to Google the answers. The client has an issue. You do the market research. You understand what's happening, and then it sticks with you. And then you learn more and more and more. And when you realize that when you have one client, you have them all, because the 32nd client is going to ask the same question as the second one, and then which is the best bank? Well, there is no best bank because, oh, why I cannot keep 10 million on one bank account? Well, dear client, and then you start repeating yourself. This is when you realize that, okay, there's a massive knowledge gap. So what I did, I was putting down all my experience in a book, and that's what I wrote, the Moving Money, which is now available on Amazon. And it came out in January, and the feedback was that finally a book which explains everything. It's not just this is card payment and this is Visa, this is Mastercard, and that's it. Or this is data security, and then if you're a compliance officer, you don't understand because the half of the book is about coding. But everything is like in an easy to understand way. And they came to me and they said that, okay, I love the book. Where can I know more? I was like, okay, I think there is a need on the market here that
Mhm.
yes, people need to know more. And as I said, even if you think that you've got a payment expert next to you who is helping you, or you've got a really good relationship with your bank or with your payment provider, you still need to make your own decisions because your business is the most important for you. And of course the payment expert is going to steer the conversation what's the best for them regarding commission. Don't leave the company, put all your volume through them. And there are some paradox situations when these interests are somehow clashing. So that's why I said that, right? I think what the industry needs is not another payment broker to tell you that, okay, I've got these banks and pick one and it lasts until it lasts and we're going to manage, but actually put the knowledge into the heads. See the payment and banking function as an independent function of the organization, which affects every part of the organization. Talk about it, educate people about it, and put the elephant of the room inside and show it to the people that, yeah, guys, we need to talk about this. And mainly in our industry, when the majority of the decisions are led by payment providers and banks, it's more important than ever. Because yes, if you're a supermarket, if you pick the blue bank instead of the red bank, okay, that not that much of a difference. But as soon as the risk increases and then you become a medium risk company or a high risk company, gambling, gaming, betting, every single decision that you make on a management level is somewhat connected to payments and compliance and regulation. And you need a person who really understands what's going on within your company. And that's why either you train your people or you get an expert. But either way, you need education and you need to put the forefront importance the person who is running everything from a payment perspective.
Well, okay. Let me get philosophical for a second, because you obviously run PSP as a as an entrepreneur, obviously to make money, obviously. Then again, the institute, I was hoping for like a for like a big mission here that I want to educate people around the world so that the world becomes a better place.
Yes.
Mm, but obviously, even if that happens, that's just another business, and that's one of the ways you do the good thing in the world. But then again, that's a way of making money. And since money is around our conversation, we are talking about payments, about running a company, etc., etc. The philosophical question is, why do you do all that?
Yes, as you said, to make the world a better place and obviously make my life easier. Because if you just see CFOs who don't understand the basics, then you know that there is a problem. And I can only be in so many places. And I really want that industry to get the attention that it deserves. And that's why I started the institute. And when you go to the website, we have a lot of free webinar, free content, just to raise awareness that this is a problem. And of course, we've got paid courses as well, private trainings, and that's what you said, that this is the business model, this is the business element of that. But the whole mission here is that right now there is no education for payment specialists. None. There is absolutely nothing. So imagine you try to hire a head of payment to deal with your banks or payment service providers. Who are you hiring? An accountant. How do you know that that person will understand even what job entails? No, you don't. There is no qualification at the moment for anyone who is making decisions over banking and payment in a company. Isn't it disastrous? I think it is. And that is the reason that we put together this institute, because I really and honestly believe that since everybody has a problem with payments and banking, there is no education out there. it's an obvious screaming out loud opportunity that, yeah, put something together and start educating people. And of course, it's a good business model as well, because it's as blue ocean strategy as it gets, because right now there's no one doing it. But even if people start to realize that there is a need and there's going to be more and more course and education around it, I'm just happy, because finally we are addressing all those issues that everybody talks about: banking and payment. And that's basically our mission.
Yes, but you answered the question. If the question was, is there a gap on the market, and if you are trying to fill in the gap, that would be the very proper answer. But what I'm really asking is, people who are listening to us, they are founders. They are the people
Mhm.
who work not 8 hours a day, not
Mm.
even 10 hours, way more than that. Yes, they live in a planes. The families suffer because there's no time to spend it with them. And then there's this leading motivation.
Mm.
Why do I do all that? I mean, if money is one, I get it. Fair enough. I understand. But I think that after all those years in the industry, after all those things that you had to sacrifice to be where you are right now, just to remind you, a businesswoman of 2023, there must be a thing that makes you run in the morning. That you wake up in the morning on beautiful Cyprus, where the weather is so nice, the views are great, and you're like, no, I'm not going to for a bicycle ride now. I'm not going to for a walk on a beach or whatever. I will get my ass to the plane and go to Barcelona to for a business meeting. Why would you do it?
Let me tell you a story. Back in the day, I was working with a gentleman, and I was doing his accounts. So it was a long, long time ago, and we lost contact. But he's a good, a good. I wouldn't call him friend, but business associate. And one day he calls me and he tells me that, oh, Victoria, I can see that you're in this Bitcoin thing and you understand crypto. Let me tell you what happened. I was like, okay. So I invested in this whatever crypto exchange, 500 euros, and I bought a Bitcoin. And the price went up and it became 550. So I cashed it out and I put it on my high street account. I think it was Bank of Cyprus or one of the local Cypriot banks. And of course, the bank had a hissy fit. What is this coming? Money coming from a crypto exchange.
Uh-huh.
So they restricted him as a person until further investigation is being concluded of where the money is coming from, because it was a crypto exchange, obviously high risk, which made him pay higher percentage on the mortgage fee. So his mortgage repayment increased. He became a high risk person. And because he was a director and shareholder of multiple other companies, the whole company's risk profile increased. And this is just a mistake. And that's what motivates me, that we need to understand this, otherwise we can make so many bad decisions that we don't even consider as a problem. And everybody has to use banks and payments, even you as on an individual level. And the amount of people who are asking me, for example, that, oh, Revolut is not really a bank because there is no office where I can go and bang the door in case I can't access my funds. Or for example, my mother said that, what happens if the application disappears from your phone? So you need to understand how these things work, and all over Europe, I'm sure that you know that now the government is paying a lot of money on financial education, and not just adults but kids as well, just to understand what is a bank, what is a financial institution, what is a mortgage, right? What is a digital wallet? So there has to be some kind of responsibility here on a society level, that if you know this, then you have the responsibility to share with people. And of course, I'm sharing it with my clients, whoever is reaching out to me. But as I said, I can only be in so many places at once. And if there is no information about these things, monies will disappear, businesses will go down, accountants are going to scratch their heads, as I was doing it 10 years ago when I had no clue about all of that. And this is a problem, and that's what really motivates me, that more people know about their own money, they can make much better decisions on an individual level, on a business level. So for example, there was this other case. One of my clients wanted to do a pilot project. They were killing it in Europe, and they wanted to go to Latin America, emerging market. Let's see what happens. And they wanted to spend all the marketing budget. And I was like, okay, wait. What are you going to do if the marketing is doing a good job? Everybody is going on your website, click, put the things in the basket, but they cannot pay. What do you mean they cannot pay? Well, you're offering a card solution on the checkout in a country when only 7% of the population has cards. So why are you spending all the marketing budget when even though the marketing is going to do a good job, people can't pay you? So the first step, and no one actually talks about it and thinks about it. So the first step should be to go there and see that, can I collect the money? If yes, how am I sending the money back to the headquarters? And do I have even any trust on the financial institutions which are holding my money? How people like to pay? These basic questions. And now we are talking about it. I'm sure a lot of people say that, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, now it makes sense because we are talking about it, right? But other than that, you don't think about these things because this is not how we were taught in the business school. The business school says to you, payment and banking is just something on the side. We need to deal with it when we need to deal with it. No, everybody has problems with payments and banking. I'm sure that you individually, you have some horror story about the bank.
Of course.
Everybody has it. So that's the main point, that we really need to educate people, understand how it works, talk about compliance, and even on the individual level, imagine that your best customer comes to you with a big bag of cash and tells you that, hey, Bartek, give me the best of what you have and all of it. Give me now, I pay you with cash. Can you accept that cash? If not, why? What is your responsibility on maintaining this financial system? You need to know that as a business owner, let alone the payments and banking. So even the basics are not really understood, and I feel this is a big problem. Of course, and if I can help people and obviously earn money out of it, happy days. But that should be handled by someone, and at the moment, I don't see anyone picking up that issue other than me. So that's the motivation. There you go.
I understand. No, fair enough. Talking about basics, you used the phrase blue ocean a couple of sentences
Mhm.
ago. I think that's one of those things that a lot of people use it. Everybody assumes that everybody know what a blue ocean is, what a red ocean is, and all that. But I have a feeling that since everybody's assuming everybody else knows what that is, nobody actually understands it. Pretty same as you just said about the finances and the system. So let me ask you the question. What are the blue ocean strategies? How do you work around it? Why do you need it? Is that even a thing?
Yeah, all right. So basically, there was this book about Blue Ocean, Red Ocean. It was a brilliant book. I read it a long time ago. I unfortunately don't really remember who wrote it, but I think there were two people who wrote it, and absolutely brilliant approach to how to enter the market. Now, I tell you what I understand out of it,
Uh-huh.
right? So if you do something that it's needed, but no one else doing it, it's going to work, because since no one else is doing it, even if you do it okay, you don't have to perfect it. At least there is something. All you need to do is just to find out that what people need, and there is nothing on the market to resolve that solution. Put something there which works. It doesn't have to be perfect, just works, and you're going to make it. This is the blue ocean strategy. Alternatively, the red ocean is when there are so many other people and companies who are doing the same thing as you, and then you compete with them. And that's when we are talking about perfected marketing techniques, lead generation, price competition, to stand out of the crowd. But if there is no crowd and you're standing alone, that's your blue ocean strategy. The world is your oyster. Red ocean is when there are so many other little fish swimming like you, and then you need to stand out. There are benefits of both, but obviously when you're competing with competition, it is, at least you know how it's done. Focus on the marketing. There are proven techniques. You can make it this way. A blue ocean, you're just winging it, and as long as it works, it's gonna be fine. But that was my understanding. So yeah, that's why I think I was really lucky to stumble upon this kind of opportunity, when really I don't really see anyone's doing it. Yes, the big accounting firms are talking about parts of that, but no one has a framework to it. No one really offers an overall holistic view about that, and that's how I think that right now I'm in this blue ocean strategy kind of place when no one else is doing it, and that's why I have this opportunity
But
for the consultancy.
if you were to look, because correct me if I'm wrong, I think you run the institute for a couple of years now, or is it months?
No, institute just started. So
Right.
yeah, we just started. Actually, it started in September. There were some technical issues. So just a couple of days ago, we came out with the paid course, and we
Right.
can give even certificates. So it's a new thing. But the consultancy is running for a couple of years now. Yes.
Okay. So what I'm getting to is, I'm coming from IT world, from software development, and lots of our clients, they of course use, or shall I say abuse, the term blue ocean, especially when they come to us with the, well, bizarre ideas for the bizarre startups. And they find, well, some of them find the niche on the market, or at least something that they think is a niche, which I could rephrase and I could say absolutely unneeded, unnecessary service that nobody offers because nobody needs it. And you know, I don't want to throw examples, but imagine just the most bizarre idea ever, and those people are so passionate when they talk about it, and those people are so passionate when they put some um, science around it, and they say, "Hey, that's the blue ocean. Nobody does it. I'm the first. I'm the new Steve Jobs. I'm a new, whatever, Elon Musk here." So I'm trying to pick your brain on your experience. What's the difference between finding the blue ocean and finding the place which actually could bring some value to the market and could bring you clients and business, but then again, it's not a thing which is absolutely unnecessary, unneeded, unwanted, and should not even exist.
I completely relate to what you say because we have a lot of clients who are finding us after getting rejected by payment service providers and banks, and this is the same story. I came up with something so unique, so
Mm.
amazing. As I say, I'm going to be the new Elon Musk. Why no one is doing it, and the bank is stupid not to take my business?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, look at that. If everybody is rejecting you, there's a reason because either you're illegal and you're just know, you're just doing everything DIY and you're not hired any lawyer who is telling you that the idea is wrong from the get go. And obviously, banks and payment providers don't have to give you the reason why they are rejecting you. They just look at your application. This is illegal, out of the window, which I have seen a lot. Or not, no one is doing it because there is no money in it, right? And the bank knows because the bank is going through 30 applications a day, so they know exactly that. Again, this idea is not going to work. So I see this from this angle as well. Listen, it's a double-edged sword because either it's going to work, so yes, there are some ideas which are wrong from the get-go, and it's unique because no one is doing it because there's no
Mm.
meaning to it. But there is a very thin line between that setup and the crazy genius who says, Elon Musk, let's make a new car company, and that's it, and he's killing it, right? So you don't really know what to, and it's the same thing as venture capital. I mean, you invest your money in 20 companies, 19 fails, one is going to make you rich. It's the same thing. But how do you feel that what is the one which is going to make you rich? No one. Otherwise, everybody would be would be rich by now. So it's a very very hard thing to say. But the first step, yes, as I can say that the first step of checking if you are legit is applying to the bank or a financial service provider. The compliance officer, who is a human, is going to evaluate that does it even make sense? Is it even legal? And reject you. And if you got a rejection over and over and over again, it's not a bad idea to sit down and start thinking, why are we getting rejected? Is it because we are illegal? Because no one believes in the idea? Bank is not going to spend money, time, energy, effort to onboard you, and then crickets, and they don't even make the money back that they invested in you just to do the full due diligence on you. But that is a good time when you start thinking that, okay, so that's why it doesn't work. What I say, and it's very easy to take advantage of the compliance if you know what to do. Submit an application with a business plan. And then, if the bank understands what you try to do and sees the potential in it and you're legitimate, most probably they're going to make you an offer. So as long as you got a bank account, even just a preliminary one, that means that you're on the right way. If
Hmm.
you apply everywhere, 20 places and 20 places reject you, there is a reason, and maybe the problem is you. So then maybe don't spend a lot of money on development, maybe don't perfect the product even further. I have seen this so many times. Client comes, the platform is ready, you click there, it opens, everything is great, they seed round, the A series, B, everything to the dot. Yeah, but the whole idea is basically illegal. You cannot do what you think you can do, right? And then they're like, but I developed everything. Well, yeah, good luck. You will never find a bank who is working with you. And if you can't collect money from your clients, the whole idea can go to the bin. So that's also one part of why you need to see things from this perspective.
Mm. Does it happen? Does it happen a lot to you? Like, do you
Lot.
witness a lot?
A lot, yeah, because normally the life cycle of a startup, do something, do the website, do the bare minimum, the minimum viable product, get a payment provider, most probably the pre-integrated ones, the Stripes, the Aidens, the big ones, and then you start and life is good. But when you start getting rejected, that's when you start Googling payment consultant or help for payments. Our name comes up, and then okay, let's see what's going on here. And you would be surprised because there are a lot of things that it's not that obvious. So for example, when you're a marketplace, a lot of people think that, okay, I'm a marketplace. I'm connecting the buyers and the sellers, right? And the sellers are selling the things to the buyers. So why don't I collect the money from the sellers, deduct my commission, and pay it out to the buyers? No, you can't do that without a financial license. You can't hold other people's money. First of all, it's a security hazard. Second of all, how are you going to report the submission? What if the seller forgets to declare it on their tax return and they don't pay tax on that? You are responsible for tax avoidance. It's a very slippery slope. And even if you build the best marketplace and you even have seen that people even develop their own wallets without a financial license. And it's wrong from the get-go. I mean, good, once you get a financial license for hundreds of thousands of euros, maybe you can use it. But do you really want to operate as a financial institution all of a sudden instead of being a marketplace? Not really. So yeah, that's the problem, that there are a lot of blurry lines of the legality. What is accepted by payment service providers? How can you develop the product? There's another example. A lot of clients are coming to me, mainly from the crypto space, that yes, crypto is not really regulated in the EU. So my lawyer told me to go to offshore and set up a hedge fund there. Everything is legal, right? Yes, it's legal, but good luck to find a bank who supports offshore crypto, right? How are you going to secure your client funds? Even though that you do everything to the dot, you're going to have a problem with the bank. Again, no one is really talking about it, so you you only see that when you face the problem. So there are a lot of these kind of problems that we
Hmm.
face on a daily.
Everything that you say, it sounds that you operate within very strict boundaries of legal matters, boundaries of banks' reality,
Mhm.
boundaries of things that are practically impossible to move. There's nothing you could do. Either it works that way or it doesn't work that way. I remember when we talked before the recording, you said that one of the major things that your career taught you is that if you're flexible and if you're adaptable to your client's needs and to your own team and basically to the reality that surrounds you, that in your opinion that's the key to the success. So how one comes to another one? I mean, how would the word flexibility fit into the word of banks, licenses, legal matters, and all that?
Listen, being flexible doesn't mean that you have to be illegal, right? So there
Of
is a
course,
line there, right? So you
of
can
course.
be flexible, but of course within boundaries. But that's the good thing, that different banks are working on the different regulations. And maybe you can't work with the Swiss private bank of the highest security level, but you will be able to work with a smaller financial institution who might be registered offshore. They are also providing services, but it's your decision what type of risk are you taking for what kind of service. And this is where education comes in the picture. So if you are willing to take educated risks and be flexible and bend here a bit, bend there, and then find a payment provider and still make it work, good for you. But know that what are the risks? Because whoever is bending rules for you or allowing you to act in a high risk era, that means that they're also going to take more of use. That means that it's not you who is going to break the system, but any of other you who is making anything wrong. The financial institution might get a penalty, might get an audit, shut it down with your money in it. So what is the risk that you are taking by choosing this way or another, picking that payment provider, this financial product or another? Because not every bank is made equal. And yes, be flexible, it's good. So you really twist and turn your activities based on the market needs. But what is the risk that you are taking with it? How are you going to explain this to your financial institution who is helping you to collect money for those kind of questionable activities? And mainly in high risk, this is what we see a lot. People are getting creative, right? And
Hmm.
the more creative you are, the more money in it. Of course, the higher the risk with it as well. So that's a constant battle. There's no such a thing as free lunch. You're going to either pay with fees or security or risk or customer experience or technology. You need to pick your battles and maintain the company within your resources. And yes, be flexible within, but just you need to understand what are you sacrificing for what.
Yeah, I think the key word here is take the educated risk.
That's right.
Risk is okay as long as you know where it is, right, and what's the consequences.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. All right, let's take a look inside your company. Let's try and use some of your experience when it comes to being a founder, when it comes to running your company, hiring the people, and managing the team and all that. So I remember when we talked before, you said that when it comes to hiring people, you have all the horror stories that there are. I mean, that you made all the mistakes that could be done.
I did.
And I love it. I love it. I run the company myself, and I learn by mistake. So, are there any like tips and tricks that you could give away to the people with a little bit less experience than yours? What have you done that actually never worked, and you know for sure that you will never do it again?
Yeah, I think everybody has a hiring disaster story because the more people I talk to, everybody's complaining about the same thing, which is the hiring, right? It just
Hmm.
seems like. I think every generation has their own problem with that because even if you go back 20 years or 200 years, it's the same story. Young people don't want to work. I don't think it's that. I think the main problem is that if you're working online, it's very, very hard to deliver the message, which is enough. And that's what I see that the biggest issues now that everything is global and the communication somehow is reduced to the screen to a limited amount of hours per day. So there is no opportunity for free flowing thoughts because now we got 30 minutes, discuss what we need to do. Off you go, and I need to go to another meeting. But also I can see a lot of, for example, cultural differences as well when you're dealing with the diverse team. And I love working with diverse teams because they have the best ideas coming from places which I never even thought about. So I think diversity strength is in this that they see the same things in a completely different eyes. But when it comes to execution, boy oh boy, the things that I have seen. For example, I have a virtual assistant who just started with me a couple of weeks before. And there was this client who really pissed me off. They didn't understand anything what I was saying. So I was just telling to my assistant that, you know what? You write an email to the client. The dear client, you are stupid. You will never be able to make this business work and take your business somewhere else. And she did. Dear client, Victoria said, you're stupid. Take your business.
Seriously.
Yes. And it was like, yes, this is what I said, but this is not what I meant. And but she was like, yeah, but this is what you told me. And yes, this is what I told you, but this is not what I meant. But this is what you said. So, the common sense element here
Hmm.
is whatever is obvious for you might not be obvious for a person
Hmm.
who's trying to help you. Because if someone is following your instructions to the dot, these things can happen, right?
Hmm.
So it is a very fine line to find someone who is thinking in the same way as you, coming up with ideas when it needs to be, independent when it needs to be, but obviously executing the things which also need to be. So
Hmm.
it is very hard. I'm still learning, so it is still a big learning curve for me. But I think that's why the the power of a business is really in the team, and this is so true, because you can have the best idea, the best tools, the best everything. If people are there in your team who you don't resonate with, and you can't communicate with, and there is no common sense,
Mm.
it's going to lead to a disaster. But you can have the best team and the worst tools, you're going to make a castle out of sand, because the team is good. So yes, it's really more focused on the people. I think that's what I learned.
I suppose you mentioned at some point that you work remotely with people. So I suppose you're all modern and up to nowadays standards. So you probably don't have the office and you work online with everybody.
Yes.
So how do you organize the like? Well, the real question is how do you make sure the team is still efficient with all the cultural differences, with all the time zone differences? You're not there. You don't know if they
Mhm.
work. If you don't know what they think, you don't know what they do. Yet you still have some goals to accomplish. And if they don't, at the end of the day, that's you as a founder responsible for that. So, do you follow any like well-known frameworks here, or do you have like any of your own learnings?
Yeah, this is the hardest really, and you're asking all those questions which are the most important, and I wish I know the answer for that. Obviously, clear instructions are very important. The KPIs that you need to finish that by the deadline. That I think, even though that you've got everything in place, if you don't have the ambition and the self motivation, you have nothing. So right now, when I'm hiring, I'm just telling people read the book and question about the book, and that filters out 95% of the applicants, because they apply for a job just to have a job, and these people need to be motivated to share the same goals and really hit all those KPIs, and as we said, be independent when they need to be, and make decisions on their own. Before that, they need to be interested in the topic. And I'm not some kind of sexy subject which everybody says that yes, save the world. It's banking and payment, so it is very hard to get people excited about that. And thanks God, now we found the mission with this approach, that this is unique. We are saving the world, we are educating people, so it resonates much better, which is attracting much better talent as well. But when you're a small company working online, payments and banking, you might not attract the right talent who is really passionately giving it all just to build your dream together with you. Even if they have skin in the game, even if they got percentage, they are just like looking at it that, okay, there is a job, I need to send those emails, I need to do that task, but they might not have their passion within. Because when was the last time you talked to someone who is like passionate about banking and payment?
Well,
Yes,
today.
my dream job. you know Everybody wants to be a marketing hero or an influencer or a video thing. These things are cool, these things are sexy. Payments and banking, helping clients to find the best way of reducing payment and banking fees and optimize the flows. eh. Okay, once you start talking about it, and then you talk to business owners, that's when you grab the attention, and this when it
Mhm.
comes to interesting. But when it comes to hiring, it's very hard to explain it to the normal human language, and make people passionate about it
Mhm.
in a job advert. So
All
that.
right. So don't get me wrong, but since you said that the environment that you work in and the people that you hire or will be hiring in the future, you don't get these so-called superstars that are
Mhm.
there to just shine brightly and evolve the career on a super quick pace and all that. What kind of daily routines you follow? How in details do you keep them motivated, and how in details do you make sure that things are actually happening? I mean, do you have dailies? Do you have KPIs? Do you have goals like quarterly plans, or is it more like YOLO? That's important now. Let's drop everything that we do. Let's just do it now and see what happens tomorrow. What's your approach to all that?
I really believe in structure, and
Mm.
I also believe in following things up, because I would say 70% of my job is to send follow up and reminders and kind reminders and reminding people about certain things. And you need to be organized. And what I
Reminding officer.
see Yes, what I see that, for example, a lot of people just don't read their emails, and you don't know who is your client. Maybe you send an email and you get a reply in 2 minutes. Maybe you send 20 emails and it's never going to be replied. And one WhatsApp message is going to do the work. Some people like the phone call, send you an email and immediately call you that I sent you an email. Okay, thank you. I see it with the other 500 email. We get back to you when I get back to you, right? But really the key is the being organized, and that's what I also teach to my team. And thankfully now I think I found a team which is really motivated and really share the same goal and the passion. So the the hard part is over, but obviously as we grow we need more people. But really being organized, I think, is half of the success. So if you can have a system where you remind yourself and then you act on it every 4 days, every week, you send an email and someone doesn't reply to you, that lead is not gone. Or when the client is asking something from you, I will get back to you, send an email, and then you really get back to the client. Those things, little things, make all the difference. Because I think there was a statistic that people are spending so much money and energy and effort just to grab the client, but they don't pay attention on follow up. So you might have 100 potential half clients already hanging, and they don't become your client simply because you don't send the last follow up email. Hi, how are you? Are we still on it? If it's not a problem. Just let me know, then I close it. And there are some hanging emails, half discussed solutions, half sold opportunities, somewhere buried deep in the email box. And that's where the gem lies. And if you take the attention, that follow up, hi, how are you, do you still have the problem, what was, even if the client doesn't work with you, fine, but just follow up in half year. By the way, did you resolve the problem? Are you okay? Use me or not, it's not a problem, but I actually genuinely care about that. Are you okay? That really makes a massive, massive difference. And you don't have to be a superstar, and you don't have to be even the best in the industry. Just the thing that you care, you really follow up. When you say that you're going to do it by Friday, do it on Thursday. Don't Because if the client needs to come back to you, or even partner or anyone really that you work with, okay, we discussed that we are having this on Monday, and you are not even getting back to them even by Wednesday, there's a problem. Get
Hmm.
back to them, say a longer deadline. Okay, it will be ready in 2 weeks, and deliver in one. The client is happy. But don't say something that I will get back to you by the end of the day, nothing. And one reminder, two reminder, you still don't get back to them. It's a reputation damage as well. And it's so easy to be organized nowadays with all these tools. Send yourself a reminder, set up whatever. Even the email has this functionality to send a delayed email. But this makes all the difference. And you don't
Hmm.
have to be the best in your industry. As long as you are the more attentive in your industry, that's what is going to make all the difference.
I cannot agree more. I mean, recently I had this funny situation where I talk a lot to my competition around Poland. I mean, with most of them we are kind of friends since all of, maybe if not all, then most of them, we work globally. So we are competition, but we are not really competition. The
Hmm.
market is huge. So we have those meetings where we try to exchange the knowledge, exchange experience, and all that, just to help each others, which is fantastic. And we had a couple of meetings regarding sales, and people
Mhm.
were uh, creating and talking about those huge sales strategies. The ideal client profiles, the marketing reach strategy, the all that. It was like extremely scientific approach. Don't get me wrong, that was very smart and very well thought. But then again, one of the guys, a funny guy, sent an email to every single company that was in a meeting and pretending to be a client. Like, hey, I need a whatever that was. Like, hey, I need a new e-commerce. If you're interested, just ping me back. I wanna share more details. And out of all those companies, maybe 20% responded. I don't mean responded in 1 hour. Responded, period.
Ever.
Um, so what you just said, I love it because it's very simple things that make the difference,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah, exactly. And if
Yeah.
you need someone, a new provider, or even just you're looking for, let's say, even a new doctor or something, right? You Google, you try to find, you try to see the reviews, and what do? You reach out. You either call them. I'm not really a call person, so usually I'm sending an email. And it's shocking that like 80% of them just don't get back to you.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And that
amazing.
makes all the difference, right? I mean, I would rather go to somewhere where it gets back to me other than, yeah, the best reviews, and I'm waiting for an ever coming email for 2 weeks, and I'm missing
Yeah.
the opportunity to fill my need. So yeah, and this is just so easy. Just pay attention, follow up, send an email, and keep your own deadlines. And that's what I
Yeah.
say to my team members as well. I don't mind when it's gonna be ready, but you tell me when it's gonna be ready, and it has to be ready by that time. That's all.
Yeah, as
If you
easy
tell
as
me
easy as that. Yeah.
Friday, fine. If you tell me Monday, fine. But just stick to it, because I need to rely on what you're telling me. Because if you can't make it, not a problem. Let me delegate to someone else. Let's sort it out. But I need you to take responsibility for what you are saying, because I need to be able to count on what you are saying. That it
Mm.
will be ready, then I know it will be ready.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
somehow it seems like a mission impossible, unfortunately. But this, as you said, it makes all the difference.
It does. I mean, if you cannot keep your own promise on sending an email on, say, Friday,
Yeah,
how would I trust in you with all my money, with all the big decisions, right? If you cannot even
fair
do
enough.
a simple thing as that. But I want to come back to what you said before. You said with all the things about reminding your team about this and that, you seem like a person who works very close to your team.
Hmm.
You obviously work close with the clients, hence the flying, but you seem to be a person pretty close to your team as well. I talk to a lot of founders. I talk to a lot of CEOs, and I can see two types of personalities. One type is I am the person who delegates everything, especially founders. I want to delegate everything. I want to. I don't want to be operationally involved in anything what's going on. Of course, as a founder, I'm gonna do the key sales in the company because only I can do it,
Hmm.
obviously. But they try to distance themselves from whatever is happening inside the company. They try to delegate everything as much as they can, and then you have that other type where it's I'm not saying everybody's like that, but they lean towards micromanagement and they
Mhm.
lean towards being absolutely aware of every single thing that's going on in the company. You seem to me as a person more towards the second group rather than the first one. But the question is it just a matter of the moment of your company, the dynamics that you just launched the institute and all that, that you have to do it, but you wanna join the first group? Is your philosophy that hey, if I run the business, I gotta control it because only then that's gonna be good? What's your approach on that?
I was leading big teams, and I have my small team now. And it really depends on the task, really depends on the people, and really depends on the stage of the company. And I agree with you. There are some people who are excel in leading big teams. So if you give that person 3,000 people, he's good with that. Or there is another other part of leadership, which is, I think, it's a personality thing as well, that they are very good of being hands-on and managing smaller teams. There are place for both. What is the problem when you start as a startup? You're very hands-on, you're building the project, your team working, of course, as you said, a bit of micromanaging, but it includes the teaching, the training, the vision, the forming, the do together guys, but then cannot let it go as the company scales up and as the company grows. And that's what I have seen many times, that
Hmm.
these small startup founders just unable to manage bigger teams because they still think that if I feed them pizza at 9 o'clock at night, they're still going to stay there. And it's not the case with a 3,000 member of a team, right? So it really depends on the circumstances. And yes, when there is a new project, you're launching something, you're a startup, you're motivating people, you have to be there. And it could be a part of a micromanaging until they get confident of what they are doing, what are the processes. Okay, now I get it, let me go, and then I go. Until then, you need to follow everything up. But it's very hard to find when you need to let it go.
Hmm.
If it's too early, that leads to a disaster. If it's too late, that again, it leads to the disaster, because don't micromanage me. I know what I'm doing. So it's a very, very fine line. And yeah, it is part of that. It is the result of the good hire as well, because some team members need a bit of more hand holding at the beginning, but then they excel. Some of them, you just tell them what to do, in 2 days later, they're doing their own thing. It's personality wise, and your responsibility as a leader to hire the right people at the right positions, give them the vision that, okay, what we are trying to achieve, give them the security. Whatever you need, guys, let me know. I'm here at the background, I'm helping you. I get you. Give you the tools, give you the opportunities, and then motivate them enough that the whole thing goes on its own. Now, obviously, if it was enough and easy, everybody would do that. But that's the idea.
No, no, no. It's never easy. It's never easy. But I just realized I have a pretty rare opportunity to ask you, since you are in the business for a number of years, and yet you started a new thing, which is the institute, only recently. When you formed the company, when you started preparing the offer, the legal matters, the recruiting people, whatever that was, did you actually do the business plan? Did you actually define the mission and the vision of the company? Did you create quarterly or yearly plans or the long-term KPIs for yourself or for the key team members? Did you do it, or did you just go with the flow? Let's jump into it. Let's just do something. If it sticks, then we're gonna think about it then.
All right, I'm very anal, right? I'm an accountant, so this is what I do. I see things in numbers, right? So what I can't measure, it doesn't exist. So it could be a bit annoying, but of course it has some benefits as well. Of course, I did some kind of plan. I know that what are the bare minimums that we need to achieve until certain times, but I also need to be able to be flexible, right? So I still need to be able to say that, all right, I thought that this is what it is. Everything is changing, my company is changing, I'm getting new ideas. Don't forget that we are pioneering on the market, so no one is actually doing it. So I don't have the blueprint in front of me that this is how you need to do it, and then be flexible around that main subject. You figure it out as you go. So yeah, I like to put everything in order to see what are we doing, how are we doing it. Costing, of course, is very important for an accountant. Measure everything. But yeah, I think the big benefit of the founders, if you have a plan but you're not afraid to deviate from that plan, because
Hmm.
that's when you really see that you're maximizing the opportunity. Have a plan, because if you're just like paddling on your own and you don't know where you're going, you're not going anywhere. Go somewhere, but if you see that there is an obstacle, there's a problem, there's a better opportunity somewhere else, don't be afraid to deviate. Because what I see a lot, that if you write something down in a business plan, people look at it as as like the stones from the sky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
it. You have to follow that because it's written, because it has a company stamp on it.
Hmm.
No, have it, relate to that, but don't let the procedure guide you. You do the process, you create the procedure to help you, not the procedure is creating your workflows. And that's and mainly for bigger teams, because when I was running bigger teams, there was always a problem that, why are we doing it like that? Because this is the procedure. Okay, but who wrote the procedure? Someone 20 years ago, right? Let's redo the procedure if it's better. We've got better tools, we've got better opportunities. And the other thing, I think it's very, very important nowadays, that everything is changing all the time. I'm sure that your business is not as the same as today as it was even in January. And that is scary, because you constantly need to adapt to things. You can't focus on your business and on your product without considering that what is the environment that you have. And everything is changing so quickly, so randomly. today this is the fashion, tomorrow it's that one. Even in payments and banking, new payment methods are popping up as mushrooms, the abundance of different options. And you really need to find the time sometimes to sit back, look everything from a bird's eye view, and then reevaluate all your plans and ideas, and kill all those plans which are no longer supporting your vision. I think that's the hardest, because you did something, you worked towards
Mhm.
that. I mean, you're working in tech, you know exactly how hard it is that after 3 months project you just like, delete everything, and then
Yeah.
it led nowhere. But you have to do that to be able to create space for something which grows. And I think this is the hardest as a founder, to let things go.
It brings me to I read the book recently by the Polish guy. He's a researcher. I don't know, PhD professor, somebody very smart, way smarter than I am. So what he does, he analyzes the way the companies work from the inside. And he said in the book that the statement is that lots of companies, they praise and they look up to the plans for the future. So
Mm-hmm.
most of the companies look in the future, which is great,
Mm-hmm.
fantastic, do it. But not many of them look at the past, and not many of them review what they do, how they do it. So he gave this example, which really sticks to me, and it's in my head. I might be wrong with details here, but I think that was the company very well known, Kodak, the company for the cameras,
Yeah.
for those things. And he said that at some point the CEO changed in that company, after years of a previous CEO. The new CEO, only after a couple of years on being on a new position, he learned that the company does the accounting and all the financial planning, assuming the year has 13, not 12 months.
Wow.
And he was like, what the hell? Like, how on earth? Why do we even do it? It's so complicated. It's so overcomplicated. We don't need it. Why do we do it? And the answer was, that was a huge company, right?
Mm.
The answer was like, we don't know. We just do it that way. It has always been that way. When I started working here, it was that way, so I just followed. What? It doesn't make any sense, right? It's,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it could be a good explanation for that, because as an accountant, I know that 13 times 4 weeks is actually the year. So you've got 13 times 4 weeks, which can be considered as a month. So you can
right.
unify the units with that. So maybe that was the reason. But yeah, as an accountant, I understand that there has to be some kind of buffer zone where you can go down with the cost. You can have some failures, like you can lose your best people for, I don't know, they're quitting on you, and then you have to have some kind of buffer in your calculations to be able to still make it. But but yeah, I know that a lot of companies, unfortunately, they are just like a fat pig in the barn, wanking on the success, and they're not changing anything. But ooh, don't rock the boat, it works. At least my shareholders are happy. We are killing it. We are not changing anything. Yes, sooner or later you're gonna fail. So the biggest challenge is that how to let things go when things go right,
Mm-hmm.
because when you are doing right, that's the hardest time, when you realize that, okay, even though that it makes you money now, it's not going to be sustainable. Let it go. Say no to money which is coming into you, and focus on something which is a longer term strategy. And that is just super hard for the management, for the shareholders. Give up today for tomorrow's vision,
Mm-hmm.
to be
Mm-hmm.
able to maintain and scale up even more. this
Mm-hmm.
this is almost impossible, and that's why we see a lot of companies are failing, because this is the good recipe, this is what we do, we are not changing anything, and the new flexible agile companies coming on the side and takes over your market share, because they
Yeah.
don't have anything to lose, and you do.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to lose it all, just for the purpose of still being in the forefront. But it's very hard.
It is. It is. It is. All right. Again, you got me all philosophical. So here comes the philosophical question. With all your experience, I mean, you've been obviously successful in your field. You are traveling all around the world. You have the knowledge. You have the experience. You are in the right place. Any piece of advice to anybody who's just starting the career and they are thinking about founding the company somewhere around payments, like systems, gateways, consulting, whatever? Any like key learning from you that we could tell them?
Everybody's winging it. No one has a clue. I'm talking to the biggest people in the biggest companies. No one has a clue. The mistakes I've seen is just undescribable. Don't be afraid. Even if you're doing it wrong, at least you're doing it. And if someone is a perfectionist, that is going to be the worst business person. You cannot be a perfectionist. You need to just get it done, and then you learn as you go along. You build an airplane while you're falling in the in the sky. And this attitude will really help you, because your product is never going to be perfect. You are never going to be the smartest. You are never going to be the one who understands everything. But don't be afraid, because even people that you think they got it all figured out, no, they don't. And the more people, more business owners you meet, and the more stories that you hear that you you are in the top of that company. How did you end up there? I wouldn't trust €1 on you. That will put things in a much better perspective. But you need to get there to see it with your own eyes. That wherever you look in any industry, everything is, oh my God, really, this is how you do it. And there's always opportunity for doing it better. It is a disaster because, this is the more you know, the more you're panicking. The wow, this is how you keep my money in a bank. Woo, I never thought about that.
Seriously? Hmm.
Wow, or when you see, for example, from technological perspective, that the whole code is
Yeah,
depending on one line, that no one knows what that line is doing.
exactly. More
That
than you
could be
think.
that. Exactly, but you just don't talk about these things, and the world is running as it runs. But yeah, that gives you an opportunity as well, because then when you realize that, wow, this is how you do it, I can do it better, then you have the courage and the self-confidence to actually do it better, and that's when you're gonna nail it. So I think you really need to understand that, no, you're not worse than anyone else. Yeah, don't have the imposter syndrome, because no one knows what they are really doing. They're doing their best in their capabilities, but it's far from the ideal, and that's okay, and that's fine. It gives
Hmm.
opportunity to you, it gives opportunity to learning, and this is how the world works.
Hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, Viktoria Soltesz, thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing all your experience and knowledge.
Thank you.
Thank you.